of Sidekick Comics Geek-Tastic Vodcast. I'm your host Dave, and this is
Isaac.
Tonight we're going to talk to you about a few things. We're going to do a little news clip on the Marvel announcement of the First XMen miniseries that they're coming out with. We're going to do a preview on an upcoming book this week, Batman Incorporated #1. We're going to have our Yu-Gi-Oh tip of the week from Isaac. We're going to tell you what books we're reading and why. And we will have our Geek Rock Song of the Week with Boo Boo. Alright, let's start by the Marvel announcement of a new miniseries coming out this summer called The First XMen. There's not been a whole lot of information released. Some of the writers and artists have been released. We know Neil Adams is going to be on board as an artist, which is kind of cool. They've told that basically the overview of the book is another telling of how the X-Men became the X-Men. Supposedly a lot of the focus is on how Professor X, before he's Professor X, when he was just Charles Xavier. And while they've not come right out and said, they said that maybe there was somebody else that protected the new mutants, the young mutants, and they've kind of hinted that it's going to be Wolverine. I don't think there's been an official announcement. They have said Wolverine will be involved. It sounds to me they're trying to kind of shape Wolverine to kind of be the even more entrenched in the X-Men, that he was the first one to help seek out and protect the young mutants. And I think we have enough X-Men books as it is. I don't know why they need to go back and retell all this. I hope it's a good book. I hope it tells a good story. But we already have more X-Men titles than I can count. And sometimes I think they take a good ideal and they stretch it a little thin. What do you think, Isaac?
Well, the whole new X-Men thing with the whole Wolverine, I think it's going to be good because, for one, Wolverine is a very important character in the whole X-Men series. In this situation, I mean, I'm assuming this was probably before he lost all his memories, so it might be a little more telling about his life before all that. So, and we do have a lot of X-Men titles, that is true, but I think this will actually bring us a little closer to home with the X-Men.
Yeah, but there's already the Uncanny X-Men, the Astonishing X-Men, Wolverine and the X-Men, X-Men, Wolverine, and they're already announced that they're also going to come out with a line called X-Men Extreme, which is, I guess, apparently going to have a little bit of a manga style to it. And so, do you not think that at some point X-Men fans have to draw their lines and pick and choose what books they buy, and that maybe by introducing a new book they're going to hurt one of the existing books?
Yeah, I do think that's actually probably what's happening right now. I actually fully believe that. But what I think they should do is they should probably scrap all the X-Men titles so far, and they should just come up with a singular X-Men title. Come with a new 52.
So you think Marvel needs to do the reboot as well?
Yeah, I think so. Because I don't know, like, they're up in the 500s with some of the comics, and
Yeah, but what to say for longevity? Well, what's wrong with being up in the 500s and having this long run? Why do we always have to do a reboot and a gimmick to get readers, and why not just tell good stories?
It's. I mean, there's not really. There's a couple good reasons, but I think the main reason for. I mean, they don't have to do it with all the books, but I think one of the books that they need to do it with is X-Men.
All right, now we're going to talk about a new book coming this week. Will be out Wednesday, May 23rd, and we're going to talk about Batman Incorporated #1. Which is the first issue of kind of the second volume of the Batman Incorporated line, which it kind of goes back to the vein of Bruce Wayne is out recruiting more for the Batman universe to help him in his crime-fighting deeds. What do you think of this, Isaac?
Well, I love Batman. I love the whole idea of Batman. I love the whole thing, recruiting and stuff. I've heard a little bit about Batman Incorporated. But like kind of like I said with X-Men, there are a lot of Batman titles. There are quite a few.
There are lots of the Batman titles kind of spun out of the Batman Incorporated a bit. Some of the Nightwing type things, all that came out of it. So this could be a kind of a good thing. I don't, instead of like with the first X-Men we talked about, instead of going back and trying to retell something, it kind of sounds like they're bringing something in to kind of try to start bringing it all back together. The one thing I think about the Batman titles, and there are a lot. There are, virtually as many Batman titles as there were X-Men titles, but
they're all
they
about Batman.
they're about different characters. They do kind of tie together. how they have the Court of the Owls thing going, then they go through all the Batman books, and it kind of, they all go together, and I think this will kind of maybe be, it sounds like maybe be the umbrella over them all that kind of tells why you have Nightwing and Batman and all these other characters, and this is kind of them, how they fit together and work together, and I don't know, kind of the Batman as a corporation, or as a whatever you want to call it, as a syndicate or whatever, working together. So I don't know. I mean, I read some Batman. I like Batman. Again, I think sometimes it's a little oversaturated. So we'll see. We'll see how this, if it does bring it together. If it's I'm sure it'll do well. Batman's always do well. Batman fans buy Batman. I don't know. To me, Batman is still primarily Detective Comics. That's where he started. I think that's still, and I don't know. Are you gonna read it, Isaac? I know you're a Batman reader. Yeah. Are you gonna?
The thing is, if I'll probably buy the first issue. I'll probably read it. Yeah, I hope so. I mean, the kind of things I'm hoping with, cause if he's recruiting people, I'm hoping it'll maybe dip into how. Maybe more training aspects of like how he trained the people, because you see how he trained Robin, and how Robin, Dick Grayson developed into Nightwing. I mean, he had prior experience, but I want to see how, if he recruits them, if he's also going to train them, and I want to see that kind of aspect with it if I do. All right. So this next segment, we're going to talk about what we're kind of reading right now, what we're interested in, what new stuff came out, what we're really interested in right now. Start off, I'll talk about the thing that I just recently read, actually. Fanboys vs. Zombie issue 1. Really funny, really awesome. It's a book about this group of friends who went to, I think it was Comic-Con, and they go in, and they're there having fun, all this stuff, and there's a little bit of drama, old girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, all that stuff coming back in. They're like, oh, and I think someone ate some bad food, and then now there's zombies. And that's kind of where it left off. It was kind of interesting. The second one kind of picked up from there, and that's all we have right now up to issue 2. I think issue 3 is coming out next month, hopefully. It's going pretty good.
Okay, so I'm going to talk then. What I'm reading is Stanley's Mighty 7. Issue 1 is out now. Issue 2 comes out Wednesday the 23rd. I knew nothing about this book going in other than Stanley wrote it. And that's enough for me. I'm very old school. I'm a big Stan Lee fan. I know Stan Lee, some people like him, some people hate him, some people are indifferent. It doesn't matter to me. The man, I mean, give me a break. The man helped create Spider-Man. So I give it, I liked it. I liked the first issue. I liked the concept. There's these superheroes that crash, and they happen to crash right in front of Stan Lee, and Stan Lee is sort of a leader, guidance for them while they're on Earth. I think it's a very cool concept so far. I enjoy it. It's very old school to me, and I like that. Sometimes I just want to read a nice light superhero book. But that's me. I'm very anxious to read number 2, see where it goes. But it's if you come into it, you're not expecting an Alan Moore masterpiece, just some lighthearted fun. I think it's great. It's a good book to check out.
Alright, so now I'm going to show you guys my Yu-Gi-Oh! Tip of the week. Alright, in a standard game when you're facing another opponent, you'll have one person here and then one person across from you. You'll usually have your front, your back, and then your deck side, and your side deck, and your graveyard. Now, in the back are where your trap and magic cards will be. Now, Yu-Gi-Oh! Tip is always be wary of your opponent's backfield. No matter what card they have up here, you always got to be wary of back here, because you never know what's going to be back here. There are so many things that can happen in a single instance you try to do an attack. My example would be, if you were to attack, I could use Magic Cylinder, which is a trap card, which basically takes your attack on my monster and takes it right back at you into your life points. Now, for most players, they will only have one of these in their deck, and that won't be a big deal for them if it's at the beginning of a match. Now, if it's towards the end of a match and you're down to, let's say, 2,000 or so life points, and you're taking direct damage from a strong monster you finally got in your field, then you have some really big issues going on now. So, This is one example, but in any situation, you never want to attack without at least considering what they could have in their backfield. You never know what they could have.
Hi, this is Boo Boo, and I'm just gonna tell you about the Geek Rock Song of the Week. Today we're gonna show you the music video for "I Want to Live in a World Full of Heroes." It's by Kirby Crackle. It's off their newest album, Superpowered Love, and you can get that song at www.kirbycracklemusic.com. So be sure to check it out.
Wanna live in a world full of heroes, not sit here counting zeros in a cubicle downtown. I wanna look out my window, see 'em flying, and swing across the horizon as I cheer 'em on so proud. Deep-powered girl keeps staring at her face, and call Colossus and have 'em teach me ways, and then we'd exercise. I'd be one of the guys. Martial arts from iron fists and walls. I'll dap her up and teach her all my songs. Oh, I wanna live in a world full of heroes, not cooking up these heroes at my parents' restaurant now. I wanna yell out adventures assemble, not order up for Ethel. Yeah, we're out of Kiki now. They'd have a frost and have her read my mind, or Magdalena, her artifacts I find, and now we catch a symphony. It'll just be her and me. Call Bucky Barnes and arm wrestle for hours. Diz NMA and bring her lots of flowers. Oh, at all the trendy bars, it'd be a guy's night out. We'd make that wolf pack now. I'd run with Flash and do a marathon. Vacation to the Savage Land for fun. Oh, I wanna live in a world full of. I wanna live in a world full of heroes. Have NPR and CNN describe the latest team. I wanna tuck my kids inside and read them stories of superhuman glory while the sleepy faces beam.
This is the Chief, to bring you an important message. It is a proven fact that more than 10 people a year die from vending machines. So, save a life. Come to Sidekick Comics to buy your Monster and Coke products. Thank you.
This is Stanley, and we'll see you next week.